Bernard Dormel paid a tribute to his wife, Brigitte Bardot, in the quietest yet most powerful way possible. There were no lengthy statements, no dramatic words chosen for public attention, and no attempt to summarize a legendary life. Instead, Bernard broke his silence with just 3 simple words: "I love you." In a moment filled with global mourning, those words stood out not because of their length, but because of their honesty. Before the world revisited Brigitte Bardot's films, her influence, and her controversies, her husband reminded everyone that above all else, she was deeply loved. That brief tribute set the emotional tone for everything that followed. It was not a message meant to define her legacy. It was a farewell from a man who had shared his life with her for more than 30 years. In those 3 words lived decades of companionship, loyalty, shared silence, and enduring love. Only after that. Tribute does the rest of the story truly unfold: the passing of Brigitte Bardot, at the age of 91, marked the end of one of the most influential chapters in modern cultural history. She was not simply a movie star. She was a symbol of an era that redefined art, beauty, and personal freedom. For millions around the world, Bardot represented rebellion against convention, fearless self-expression, and a new vision of femininity that refused to be confined by society's expectations. Her presence in 1950s and 1960s cinema did more than entertain. It challenged norms, reshaped storytelling, and altered how women were portrayed on screen forever. As news of her death spread, the reaction was immediate and global. Tributes poured in from every corner of the creative world. Filmmakers recalled her groundbreaking performances. Actors spoke of her influence, and fashion designers credited her as a timeless muse. Activists remembered her relentless dedication to animal rights, while fans, many of whom had never met her, shared deeply personal reflections on how her films, style, and courage had shaped their lives. Social media became a living archive of her legacy, filled with iconic photographs, unforgettable film moments, and emotional messages celebrating her extraordinary life. Yet amid the worldwide outpouring of grief and admiration, there was a quieter, more intimate loss unfolding away from the public eye. Behind all the headlines and tributes stood Bernard Dormel, her husband mourning not a global icon, but the woman he loved. Brigitte Bardot's rise to fame was nothing short of extraordinary. She became an international sensation at a time when global celebrity was still a relatively new concept. Her breakout role in And God Created Woman transformed her into an icon almost overnight. She was bold on screen, unapologetic in her expression, and unlike any actress audiences had seen before, her influence extended far beyond film. Bardot became a fashion icon, inspiring trends that remain recognizable decades later. Her hairstyle, her style of dress, and her natural confidence defined an era. But fame, for Bardot, was never a simple gift. It was a burden that followed her everywhere. As her fame grew, so did the pressure. Her personal life became a constant subject of public debate. Every relationship, every emotional struggle, and every decision was scrutinized. Over time, that relentless attention took its toll, in a move that shocked the entertainment world. Bardot walked away from acting in the early 1970s, choosing to leave at the height of her fame. It was a decision rooted in exhaustion, disillusionment, and a desire to reclaim her life. After stepping away from cinema at the height of her fame, Brigitte Bardot chose a path that surprised many, but fulfilled her deeply. She redirected her passion toward animal rights, transforming personal compassion into a lifelong mission. What began as concern for the suffering of animals soon evolved into determined activism, making her one of the most outspoken and influential voices for animal welfare in France. Through the creation of the Brigitte Bardot Foundation, she dedicated her time, resources, and reputation to fighting cruelty and raising awareness on a global scale. Her activism was intense, emotional, and often uncompromising. Bardot spoke with honesty and urgency, even when her words sparked controversy or public criticism. She refused to dilute her beliefs to maintain approval, choosing conviction over comfort. For her, this work provided a sense of purpose that fame and celebrity never truly offered. It grounded her life in meaning beyond the spotlight. It was during this quieter, mission-driven chapter that Bernard Dormel became her steady presence. offering support, stability, and understanding as she lived according to her values. Bernard Dormel was never part of the celebrity world. A businessman with a background in politics, he valued privacy and discipline. When he married Brigitte Bardot in 1992, he did so without stepping into the spotlight that followed her everywhere else. As her fourth husband, Bernard brought stability rather than spectacle. Their relationship did not unfold in headlines or public appearances. Instead, they chose a life of seclusion in Saint-Tropez. Far from the noise of Paris and the demands of celebrity, Bernard did not seek to manage Bardot's image or speak on her behalf. He supported her choices quietly, allowing her to live life on her own terms. For Bardot, who had spent decades under constant scrutiny, that support was invaluable. What made Bernard Dormel and Brigitte Bardot's marriage remarkable was how little the world saw of it. There were no staged interviews, no public declarations, and no attempts to portray their relationship as a fairy tale. Instead, their bond was built on presence. Bernard respected Bardot's need for solitude and supported her activism without seeking recognition. He accepted her strength, her contradictions, and her fierce independence. Those close to the couple often describe their relationship as deeply grounded. Bernard provided balance to Bardot's intensity, offering calm where her life had once been chaotic. In return, Bardot found in him a sense of safety she had long been searching for. As Brigitte Bardot grew older, her world became smaller, but Bernard's role grew even more central. He remained by her side as her health declined and as she continued to advocate for animal rights. Their life together was no longer defined by fame or public attention. It was defined by routine, shared values, and quiet companionship. For Bernard, these years were not about caring for an icon. They were about loving his wife. When Bardot passed away, the world expected grand statements and official tributes. Instead, Bernard Dormel offered something far more intimate. I love you. Those words resonated deeply because they felt real. They were not shaped for public consumption. They were the words of a husband speaking from grief, gratitude, and devotion. In a culture where public mourning often becomes performance, Bernard's tribute reminded people that love does not need explanation. Sometimes, the most powerful expression of loss is the simplest one. Bernard Dormel's tribute stood out because it stripped away the legend and revealed the human story beneath it. It reminded the world that Brigitte Bardot, despite her fame, lived her final years not as a symbol, but as a woman deeply loved by one person. His words captured something universal. When everything else fades, career, fame, applause, love remains. Brigitte Bardot will forever be remembered as a trailblazer in cinema, a fashion icon, and a fierce activist. Her influence will continue to be studied and debated for generations, yet Bernard Dormel's tribute ensures that another part of her story endures, the story of a woman who found peace in her later years, supported by a partner who asked for nothing in return. In the end, Bernard Dormel's words may become one of the most enduring responses to Brigitte Bardot's passing. I love you. It is a farewell without spectacle, a tribute without explanation, and a reminder that behind every legend is a private life shaped by love. When the noise of the world fades, it is those quiet truths that remain.